Welcome everybody to the Keys of Wisdom channel. Here I got started with what I'm trying to put together to go with the light square and the glory square that I've already made. I'll show them later, but I want to go over where I'm getting started with here, right? Obviously I'm going to making a crown square, same as the light in the glory and the other two squares, or the satyr in the rotas in the satyr square. So first I got in here and I'll show you how my path went on building it. Ortho. So now I got crown all the way around the outside and I got an ortho cross. Right, ortho, straight and upright. All kind of different meanings. Orthodox, orthodontics, straight in the teeth, orthopedics, on and on, right? Lots of ortho. So then at this point here, I use the two ions where they originate, which is different than when they take power. Right. The first negative ion is C, and the first positive ion is E. But like I said, people can look at it a different way and say the first positive ion is C, the first negative ion is E. The only thing that is absolutely 100% correct and true is that they're opposite ions. One is negative and one is positive. How they're labeled, that's always a 50-50 deal. So the middle part, the last four that I filled in was CC, right, for those two ions where they begin. And then I got a kick out here of 5783. But when we look at this square, right, no matter how I do it, it's, let's see, RERCWWCHER. Pardon my door slamming, the wind just took it. Okay, so we're not quite there, right? We got our 5738 kicking out, so we're in the ballpark. We're in the ballpark, so now I'm going to show you what the next thing I did was. 5738 relates right back to the glory square. So the next one here I did was REDAW, water, ORTH. And at this point I had overlooked, right? I had got crown, water, OO. Alright, what do I want to do? The words, 5-letter words that begin and end in O. Alright, so this is where I got again. And again, we've got a 1 from 1978. Right in the ballpark to the glory square and the corona, or the light square again, right? The light square, 5738. The glory square, 9478. September 4th, 1978. So now here with the ortho 1 from 1978. But again, it's not the same, right? Back and forth. There's no cross. The cross is different in the middle. O, T, T, T. Right? There's a triple cross in the middle. O. So it'll be O, T, T, O, ortho. Upright. Triple cross. Now, of course, that could have our meanings into what's occurring on 4/8/24, that the corona, crown, light, glory deal is all about. But this does not achieve the everything the same, forwards and backwards in all the ways, just like the Seder square, the light square, and the glory square. So now I think I got the thing down. So now to get to the water, right? Now we've got water up and down, left and right, crown up and down, crown left and right, and the center feature is going to be B, 1978, right? So all three ways I went about this crown square, it all led me to 1978. The first one through that 5783 using the CC with the ortho cross in the crown, and then the second time using crown, water, ortho in the middle, one from 1978. And then here, when now I get it to the point where everything is the same, forwards and backwards, all the different ways, it's 1978. So even though it took me a little bit to get there, right, the entire path on the way there was telling me you're on the right track, you're on the right track, you're on the right track, because it goes all the way, they both, this is directly related to the light square and the glory square, right? And I already had the information from them, 5738 and 9478 of 1978. All three ways here of putting together this crown, right? Same deal, 1978. So when I got this B in, right, the other ways was ATO, right? Is OTB, TO versus the OTA, TO, right? So everything in the middle, right, it's got beta, B, bet, beta, B, bet, beta, and then two other crosses. Right? It's got alpha omega relation, like I show you all the time, right? In the Seder square, they're using ATO, and they got the A and the O out. It's all alpha omega stuff. I'll show you that in the glory and light square. And then I tell you all the time that the actual alpha and omega is the alpha and the beta, the aleph and the bet, the A and the B, the 12 and the 12, right? From before the foundation. And that's what the connotations are in here to this 1978. Let's just put in this light, COCH, TODOG, ACOCI, light backwards, THTIL, right, 5738. Same thing as 1978 for the most part, right? Up until the middle of September, or near the end of September, 1978 turns into 5739. Alright, so I got all of that. And then here I got the glory later. OTATO, right? Versus the OTBTO in the crown square. TALYROLG. Now I got the exact date. 9/4/78. which is the Hebrew year 5738, which is the Gregorian Julian year of 1978. All three squares all together, glory, light, and the crown. So I wanted to give a peek at that. I was going to do potentially a lot longer video and relate into some of the stuff I kind of worked on yesterday. I had Tammy stop by and was talking a little bit about the ha and the ah, H-A and the A-H. And I started talking to her a little bit about that in terms of the breath of life, the taking and the giving of the breath of life. And then, of course, my friend Ben over at Operation End Times puts out a video a little bit later, and I look into it, and it's all about Abram and Sarah, or Abram and Sarai, Abraham and Sarah later, and Isaac in the altar, the sacrificing of Isaac and all of that stuff. So, and again, I got to tie all of that into it. I don't have all of the work ready, but I'll do something like that. Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, right? In the mirror is the God of Isaac. And together, the God of Isaac, Ruach HaKodesh, 1978, right? The two mirrors of 1979 together is 1978. Yeah, and I had done all this other work before. Noting Peshua the Melican, the dominion to grant power to kings, the power to grant dominion to kings. They use this in terms of like praying for the government, things like that. But in here, right, we got the ha and the ah, the same deal with the that became of that's how Isaac got created, right? The breath of life. Sarai was womb was bare, right? And the only reason she created Isaac with Abraham was the intervention of God. God allowing her womb to now pass on the breath of life, right? Which is the ah in Sarah, right? In the ah, in the ha, in Abraham, that neither of them had, right? When they were Abram and Sarai, right? And then they say Abraham is the father of all the nations, and right through Ishmael, and then through Isaac, and then Esau, and Jacob, Israel, right? But what really denotes the difference between the nation of Israel and all the other nations is nothing to do with Abraham, because Abraham fathered all of the nations out of Ishmael, and it's the ha, it's the ah, the ah, that breath that created Isaac, right? That Israel has the ah of Sarah, whereas nothing coming from Ishmael has the ah, the breath of life from Sarah, right? So Hanon Teshua Lamelikin, the power to grant dominion to kings, right? Be strong and courageous, right? Of course, to Joshua, right? This is the promised land. Right? Hanoten Teshua Lamelikin is also about exoneration, right? So all of these phrases here covers the covenant of the Abraham covenant that's gone down into Israel, into David, into Jesus, right? The blood of Jesus. Oops. Jesus' blood, right? Mirror ewes and rams, right? Males and females, right? The kingship deal, right? The David, Jesus, David, right? Judah, Israel, Jacob, Isaac, Sarah, right? The path back. So I'm going to do some other stuff on this, right? And also did some stuff like ha versus ha, the taking of uh, the breath of life. Is the giving of the breath of life. And then, right, when I translate Sabbath to the actual deal of everything, right, that's exactly what it is, right? B, C, and D did not precede E, right? Day one is the separation of A and E. And there was evening and there was morning the first day. Right? E animates B, C, and D. Consonants are dust. They do not exist without the breath of life, right? And this is also shown in the word Yahweh, right? And then they remove the breath of life from Yahweh to create a fake Yahweh. They remove it to create the fake tetragrammaton, which this is not the tetragrammaton, right? That's the complete removal. That's one of the huge issues with the Hebrew people is the removals of the vowels of the breath of life that went on, which removed their ability to actually read their own languages. There's no modern people today that actually understand what the original Hebrew was about. And a big part of that was when they removed the breath of life and all the vowels from it, then the removal of the breath of life and where it comes the actual God and spirit, right, is also removed from them, and then they became really, really twisted type of deal. But that's not the tetragrammaton, right? That's the tetragrammaton. The four that are as above, so below, which are the four vowels, which would be A, E, I, O. Not a U, right? Y is always stuck on U. So when you get the sometimes Y down, right, you throw out the Y and the U. There's only four. A, E, I, O. Fear. The A, E, I, O of God is the beginning of wisdom. Fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. Peace of God is the beginning of wisdom, right? Not snuffing the air out of anything else. Which is the difference between the ha and the ah. Well, that's the actual tetragrammaton right here. First position, second position, 16th position, and 21st position. These are not the actual symbols and sounds that go on it. Any symbols can go on it. Symbols doesn't matter. The sounds that go on this is A, E, I, O. Anybody that has the ears to hear can go through the entire 26 letters of the alphabet and listen to the names of them. There's only four of them that pass the vowel court mouth test. A, E, I, O. You. Right, the Y is stuck on U in front. It's a B locker, air B locker, right? It's also within our words, A space lock, block, clock, right? What a difference a space makes. There's a lock stuck to the B, right? And then that's where all the teachings come off falsely into everything, right? It comes out of the Hebrews into Christianity and now Islam, right? And blocking the air from the woman side. It's all male. Everything is all the light. Everything is all male, male, male. God's male, male, man. They're blocking, blocking the other half, right? That's where all of the issues come from. That's why Jesus tells his own disciples, for you have become like the Jews, and you either love the tree and hate the fruit, or love the fruit and hate the tree. Because they ate that ignorant shit that's coming out of those Hebrews. Right? Drunkard and skunks, the Hebrew. Right? So, I started working on Abram and Sarai. Abraham, Sarah, wise, wisdom, gnosis, right? That's what I'm putting out here, right? And at this point, let's go back to this one. We'll say wisdom. Abraham, Sarah, wisdom, right? What was the result of this, right? See how now Abraham has the the breath of life, and the the ability to take the breath of life. That's the force and the power behind how everything coming from Abram is going to become all these nations, because they have the ability through this, the here, to take the breath of life from all of their enemies, right? And that ability is also transferred into Ishmael's line, right? And then Sarah now has the breath of life. So there's a double in the right? Which is now, this means Sarah's womb goes from being barren, unable to bear children, to now she's going to bear Isaac here, right? Of the Immaculate Conception, right? And that was, right? That was an Immaculate Conception. And in Ben's video, right, he was talking about going back to, he was relating back from Isaac carrying the wood up to the altar where his dad, Abraham, was going to sacrifice him, right, which was really only a test of Abraham. God was never going to sacrifice Isaac, right, and he's asking where the lamb is, so he's tying that back to Jesus. Well, the creation of Isaac, also, the Immaculate Conception, is the fucking same thing. Like, harkens right back to Jesus, right? Same thing. Mary, in the story, the Virgin Mary, well, a virgin womb is barren, right? You have to have, it's a desert. You have to have some moisture entering it from a male source to be able to produce, right, that womb, the virgin womb, to produce a child. And so within the story, the virgin womb, the barren womb, produces Jesus, only because of the power of God, right, within that story, right? Well, the same thing goes on here with Sarah and Abraham, right? Abram and Sarai couldn't produce anything, even though he was introducing the male moisture into the desert, that it, for whatever reason, possibly differing blood. There's a couple different things, right? Sarah could have been Rh negative woman, and Abraham could have been Rh positive male, right? And that's would be why they would never, right? Possibly she got pregnant once, lost it, her body was sensitized every time she got pregnant again. After that, her body immediately would kill the child, right? Just the difference. The Rh negative woman body in terms of hosting the Rh positive male children, right? That could be a reason why, but no matter what the reason was, Abram and Sarai, right? It was barren, and even though male and female were coming together, they weren't able to produce anything within the womb of Sarah or Sarai. And then God intervened, and Abraham and Sarah now were granted that breath of life, and that breath of life turned into Isaac, right? So this of the Immaculate Conception, or eyes, of those eyes, or CY, Immaculate Conception, right? CY, this is linked back to Jesus, just like Ben was linking back to Jesus through the Isaac asking, "Where is the lamb?" when he is carrying the wood up to the sacrifice that his father is going to sacrifice him, right? And then, of course, it's obvious that his father is willing to sacrifice him the same way as in the story, the father of Jesus being God was willing to sacrifice him. But the conception and birth, right, of Isaac is the same deal also as the conception and the birth of Jesus, right? So that is the wisdom, right, in the difference between Abram and Sarai, Abraham and Sarah. That's the wisdom, right? And we can also get into the gnosis, right? It's going to have big stuff. I got to put other things together. I'd like to come back and do something bigger here, but everything is going on it, right? And the wise, which is an I time, right? Abram, Sarai, I time, Abraham, Sarah, right? And the I time be God's time. Would be doing that, right? That's the wise. This is actually what got me working on that other square. Was when I had put this together, Abram, Sarai, Abraham, Sarah, and the wise, right? Well, just like now, we are all becoming wise of what the ah means and the ha means, the giving of the breath of life and the taking of the breath of life, right? And that goes into, that's all of the problems and the solutions with everything from the Hebrews on out into everything else, is the blockage, the blocking of the breath of life, and the giving of the breath of life, right? The blocking of the breath of life from the female to the female is the problem, and the giving the breath of life to the female, again, properly, right? Her entire half that she deserves, right? That's the solution. And the same problem and solution goes through everything that stems out from the Hebrews, from Judaism. Same problem, same solution in Christianity. Same problem, same solution in Islam. All the way through it all, same problem, same solution. So this is what got me going, right? Corona, crown, squares, right? So when I had linked those two up, at Abram, Sarai, Abraham, Sarah, wise, right, two corona, crown, squares, then I looked at crowns, 5 letters, just like Seder, just like light, just like glory. Why haven't I made a crown square yet? And then that's what got me into the beginning of the video and those versions, right? Third time was the charm on creating the proper crown square, that every bit of it is all 19 78, which again is all conception, and it again harkens right to the Immaculate Conception of Isaac and the Immaculate Conception of Jesus, and in our time now, another Immaculate Conception that occurred in 1978, the Hebrew year 5738. So what was that? Crown, water, OTBTO, water, NWORC, crown, 1978, right? So this is definitely the correct square that goes directly with the light square and the glory square that I've made, and the big crowning, and we're going to continue to work on it. It's 4/8/24, right? And when the whole deal comes down, it will be what? We believe in Mary and Jesus. 4/8/24, the crowning, the glory, the light, the corona, right? And giving the breath of life back to Mary. And what I'm talking about is Mary Magdalene and Jesus, right? The finishing cross. Right? Last pass through, Jesus stooped down and wrote in the dirt. 2017, right? The stoning of the adulterous woman, so-called, right? And again, Jesus stooped down and wrote in the dirt. The only time they ever tell you Jesus wrote. Everything else come through somebody else, which, if you take up the perfection of Jesus and Jesus being without sin, even though it is covered within this very same writing, Jesus actually writing, right? It's covered there, right? Let he who is among you without sin be the one to cast the first stone at her. None of them cast a stone at her, and neither did Jesus, right? That is covering the perfect ion, right? No such thing, right? That's one of the most important things that is covered within the entire Bible, is the 2 times where Jesus wrote, stooped down and wrote in the dirt, and again stooped down and wrote in the dirt, and it covers sin, right? And as it pertains to Jesus and every other single person who has ever existed, right? There's no such thing as a perfect ion, right? None of them cast a stone at you, no. None of them condemn you, no, and neither do I. And I'll go and sin no more, right? Because there was nobody there without sin to cast the first stone at her, right? You could go in other context if you wanted to believe along the line of Jesus being sinless and perfect, and let he who is among you cast the first stone. Let he who is among you without sin cast the first stone at her. Right, then he reached down and picked up. Right, Jesus is among them. Reach down and pick up a stone and cast it at her. But he's no different. He's no better than she is, and they're no better than she is. And he makes that fucking clear. That's very clear in that part. People ignore that all the time, right? That's the only time Jesus wrote anything. He stooped down and wrote in the dirt. And that's the only time where the sin, as it pertains to Jesus, is accurately portrayed, right? There at those times where he wrote twice, when he's stooping down to write in the dirt. All the other times is some other prickwads and liars making these claims of Jesus being perfect, right? Nothing here is perfect. You have to be like modern days today. You'd have to bend the definition, right? To totally change the definition to make Jesus sinless or anybody else sinless, right? What is the definition to sin to you, right? If you change the definition of sin to be narrow enough, then you can make a bunch of people, all kind of people here perfect, right? Because it doesn't, what things they did doesn't fit your new, really narrow definition of sin, right? But they tell you Jesus ate, right? Jesus ate here, so he participated in the taking and the stealing and the consuming of all the other things, right? And everybody here does the same damn thing, right? You can't live here and survive here without participating in the thieving and the killing that goes on to produce everything that everything here consumes, no matter if it's a plant or an animal or anything else, right? People today think, oh, we're better than you because we eat just plants. Well, you got to kill those plants and steal from those plants and everything just the same, right? To eat those plants, just like the animals. You got to kill and steal from them. And if you're not doing it yourself, somebody else is doing it for you. So when you're consuming it, you're participating in it entirely. But this is something I definitely want to go back and cover some more. But just from yesterday when it started up, a little bit of talking with Tammy and then jumping over and watching a video at Operation End Times over on Ben's channel, and then doing a little bit of new work combined with some of the older work that I had and had talked about, right? This covers a ton of the stuff, and it goes along with all of my all of the squares for the upcoming deal and the entire thing, right? Versus Ha, right? And the Sabbath, Saeeath, all of that, right? The unblocked air days, all of this stuff, it all ties together big time. But I got some work to do to be able to express it a little bit better than I have here, right? And at first, when I opened up this channel too, I was hoping to get a lot of subscribers and go big and wide with it, but now I'm just relegated to, it's going to be a small amount of people. It's going to be because everything, the actual word and the real word, everything that it shows is contrary to what all these people here hold, right? They're going to be offended when they come in, right? Just because of what the Hebrews became and Judaism became and what Christianity became and Islam became and all the stuff they were fed their whole life. They're just not going to be compatible over here with most of the truths as they get produced, right? So that's all right. We're going to keep moving on, and it doesn't really matter how many are here. The ones who are supposed to be here will get here. The ones who are worthy of the word will pick it up, and the rest who aren't supposed to be here won't. And those who aren't worthy won't be able to pick it up, right? It'll all handle itself, right? But we're going to go over a lot of this probably several times from now to April 8th, 2024, and really flush out the versus Ha, the giving of the breath of life or the taking of the breath of life, right? Which is the consonant. Consonant in the front, vowel in the front, right? And Ha is one of the, some people like to try to place it up in a vowel. It's not. right? It's one of the softer air blockages, but the H is an air blocker, right? But when we say the word H, right, it opens up like this: H, A, right? H, H. Whereas the J will be J, G, G, G is really blocked, right? But the H, the name of the H, opens up like that, right? But it's got the air block on the end, which is giving the life and death here. But the other way is completely blocking the ha in the front, right? We could the letter H could say hey, right? We could E F G hey, right? G J, but it's H, right? It's open at the front and closed in the back. B is closed in the front, open in the back. C, closed in the front, open in the back. A, open in the front, open in the back. E, open in the front, open in the back, right? That's the true vowel. It's got to be open in the front and open in the back. That's why the U, right, the Y is blocking it in the front. It's something like this. It's the U. It's a stolen sounds off of other vowels with the Y blockage on the front of it. Right. U. Right, and we kind of do something like that, right? It's with a boo, you, boo. Right. The U is not a vowel. There's only 4 vowels. So we got a ton of things that we can do about this deal. But this is big in terms of Abraham and Sarah and the name change and what it's all about. It's about blocking the air in the front or blocking the air in the back, right? And Isaac never would have been created if it wasn't for God intervening and opening up that air in the front so that Abraham held an ah and Sarah held an ah, right? Really, Abram was able to reproduce with everybody else besides Sarai. It wasn't Abram. It was the issue was with Sarah, the woman, right? Like I talked about, potentially being an RH negative woman and Abraham being RH positive, right? Which would then make, right? It would take blue and red and make magenta or purple or royal or whatever, and that's what's come down. Hanoten to Shulamelikin, from Isaac to Jacob, Israel, to the 12 tribes, to David, to Jesus, right? The whole damn deal. But this ah and the ha is super significant, and that's the only reason Isaac came into existence. So anyways, please like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you think that's something you should do, and have a nice day.